Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Amy Rodriguez, Park Director for the City of St. Paul. I want to start off by saying, welcome to your Pedro Park. As you all know, this park has been nearly 2 decades in the making, with so many people and partners working tirelessly to bring us right here to this moment. This land here carries a special history. In 2009, the Pedro family generously donated the site of the former Pedro Luggage Center to the City of St. Paul, planting the seed for what would become Pedro Park. In the years in between, the space lived as the urban flower field, which was a creative partnership that kept hope alive until the annex building was demolished in 2023 and construction began in 2024. Today, we stand in a completed park that offers so much to our community. A custom play structure for kids, a dog run, a picnic and performance pavilion, pollinator gardens, and vibrant public art that will continue to unfold in the months ahead. And if you haven't seen it, check out the retaining wall in the alley with the awesome mural that's there. None of this would have been possible without the people and organizations who made it happen. A huge thank you to the St. Paul Parks Conservancy for your unwavering commitment to equity and green space. To the Pedro family, your generosity laid the foundation for this project. To Julie Prince and the Friends of Pedro Park, your persistence and passion carried this vision through many years. This is your moment too. We also thank the talented design and engineering teams, Ani Fernandez, Landscape Architects, Rohrschmidt Architecture, Rader and Associates, and Paulson and Clark Engineering. To Global Specialty and their subcontractors, thank you for building this park with your skill and care. It is greatly appreciated. I'll just say throughout this project, I got a lot of emails and photos from neighbors of you all working very hard every day. So thank you so much. And to the gifted artists, Daniela Bianchini, Pablo Calaca, and Peter Morales, thank you for bringing life, color, and cultural meaning to this space. I also want to thank our St. Paul delegation, specifically Senator Pappas, Representative Perez Vega, for their strong support of this project and for helping us get to the finish line. And of course, Council President Naker as well for being such a strong champion of this space. Finally, I want to recognize the city's project team, Brian Murphy, the landscape architect on this project, Alice Messer, design and construction manager, Brett Husong, and those who guided the earlier phases of this project, including Ellen Stewart, Ann Gardner, and Mary Norton. Thank you to all of you for ensuring this park reflects the vision and values of our community. We're excited to celebrate with you today. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our mayor of the city of St. Paul, Mayor Melvin Carter.
Good evening, and welcome to your Pedro Park. Somebody said there's a couple of raindrops coming down, but I don't know, I'm under this pavilion. We just turned on a couple of drops to just show off what a cool pavilion. This is an incredible park. Look around us. This is an incredible space. And it would be an incredible space if we were just talking about compared to nothing. But those of us who know where we've been in this community, those of us who remember the history in this space, know what an incredible space this is. I just want to say yes. You know, I got a chance to walk through this park last week, and it's just stunning. It's just astounding. You can see it in action when you look around. You can see it coming alive for us. And our ability through our architects and through our designers and through our project team to both build this amazingly beautiful and exciting space while also building in all those little nuggets that are homages to where we've been and where we come from, is really incredible and really amazing. I want to say thank you to everybody who worked on this space, everybody who had a part of this. And it's one of those things, you know, I sometimes feel like we end up on the fulcrum of trying to figure out how to push into the future and trying to figure out how to, like, you know, are we pushing to the future or are we trying to hold on to the past? One of my friends looked at the playground and said, hey, that doesn't seem like a playground to me. It does. There's no swings there. And I said, you don't have kids, do you? My children know exactly what to do on this playground. And so just looking at this space and thinking about all the activity, all the vibrancy, all the livelihood that this space is the conduit for. Because what's important really isn't the playground. What's important isn't the pavilion or the concrete or the tables or even the incredible grass or even this amazing, have you seen the mural? Yeah, beautiful. What's important about this park wasn't even here until you stepped foot into it. What's important about this park is us using it. What's important about, you know, we grand open parks and playgrounds, and usually there's a lot more like younger children. And I always ask them, I'll ask you guys the question I ask them. I say, this is the most important question. The most important question is who this park belongs to. And some of them sometimes say, you, me, the mayor? And I say, no. And they say, the president? And I say, absolutely not. Although presidents make that mistake sometimes too. And we always come to the conclusion that the park belongs to the people. And that comes with privileges, and that comes with responsibilities. Because this is a space that we take care of. And one of the most incredible things I think about our culture of our downtown parks is the people who step forward to do the gardening, to do the planting, to do the weeding, to do the maintaining of these spaces in ways that are just vibrant, thriving, beautiful spaces for us to come and enjoy together. It's so cool. So I want to say thank you to all of those volunteers who have already stepped forward, who are already taking care of us, who are already being stewarded to this place. And finally, never doubt that a small group of dedicated people can change the world. And so for that whole crew of folks who have literally never stopped envisioning and pushing and dreaming and asking, but you know, sometimes you ask and there's like technically a question mark, but there's also like an exclamation point at the end of that question. We've got a great group of volunteers, a great group of neighbors, a great group of advocates and community activists who have literally had this park on their shoulders for 20 years. And we say thank you for making this happen for us. Just too many people. Annie mentioned a lot of folks, the city council president, all the elected leaders, our state delegation and leaders who have helped make this happen. We just appreciate the stone soup that this space represents for us. I too have gotten lots of photographs from a couple of the windows up here and a couple of the windows up here. I could make a flip book of the construction project and the phones in the pictures in my phone. So it's great to just be breathing in this space together with all of you. Without further ado, we of course also wouldn't have this park if it weren't for a whole lot of people, but also very specifically if it wasn't for one family. And that's the Pedro family who had this vision, who saw this, who decided they wanted to be a part of our community story in a really, really special way. And we really appreciate that. So without a doubt, without further ado, introduce Julie Patera. It's good to see you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
All right. Melvin's a little taller than I am. Just a little. And this is what happens in 20 years, in case you need something concrete to measure time with. But this vision, Mayor Carter talked about, I have to give credit to my brother Carl, who's standing back there. It was his idea. And that was after the family tirelessly worked, to sell the old building and sell this space, like for a decade. And it didn't happen. And so Carl's idea was embraced, and the process was delayed, and teams of people that live down here, like Julie Prince, and people who look out of their windows at what was kind of, some old buildings and the urban flower field that filled the 10-year gap. They worked and they pushed for this green space. So, like Mayor Carter said, it could be a breath of fresh air for all kinds of people, every people. And guess what? I haven't learned one word in this thing that I worked on for 2 days. But that being said, some of our teams, we surveyed people probably to ad nauseum a little bit, but we heard their needs. We want a safe, emphasis on safe with all big letters, place for kids. We want a place where we can garden, we can get together, we can share. And I believe that's what this Pedro Park is going to afford for downtown St. Paul. Backing up, does anybody want to hear an immigrant story, or is that like, no? Okay. So I'm just going to say this. Let's see, this thing is in my way. The park honors all hardworking immigrants, right? With a history of adaptation and contribution. And in Italian, those words are adattamento and contributo. Did you right? That's my sister Mara. She knows Italian. The legacy of Pedro Park starts with my grandfather, Carl Pedro Sr. He loved gardening, and he was a member of the St. Paul Garden Club. He likely had no idea that this space would become a park to share with the St. Paul community. As a young man, he was known as Caramina Pitera. He journeyed from a small mountain village in southern Italy, kind of, as the boot comes down there and where it narrows, in a town called Belcastro. His father ran a school where Grandpa learned the trade of shoemaking. And after arriving at Ellis Island in 1906, aboard the König Albert, the 17-year-old young man traveled to St. Paul to meet his older brother, Jim. Both brothers decided to change their last name in an effort to establish themselves as American. So Carl Pedro Sr. opened Wide Awake Shoe Shop on 7th and St. Peter in 1914, so 8 years after he got here, where shoes were repaired and handcrafted for those with orthopedic needs. Apparently, the docs would, send their people with deformed feet because they knew Grandpa knew how to craft a shoe from scratch and, fit their special needs. He also became known for his ability to dye shoes to match any outfit. I mean, those were the days, right? The 50s, the shoes and the purse and the, dress, everything had to match. So after serving in World War II, my father, Carl Jr., placed his suitcase in the window of the shoe shop. The luggage sold the same afternoon, which prompted my dad to suggest to his father it was no longer viable to earn a living repairing shoes. Wide Awake Shoe Shop transitioned into Pedro's luggage and repair, and then luggage sales emerged along with shoe repair in a long relationship with Northwest Airline baggage repair. There was one storm, it must have, I think I was in college, so back in the 70s, there were so many bags damaged. They were piled up in the factory, and I remember my dad coming up with this push broom to clear the space so that people could sort, and figure out which repairs we needed. Eventually, the business grew and it moved to 6th and Robert, just south of us a bit. Pedro's added manufacturing of custom cases for Minnesota mining and manufacturing, aviation, and the sporting goods industry. And finally, after 84 years, the business closed in 1998. At that time, our dad would have been 90 years old. Yeah. There's not many of us that are going to be able to work viably till we're 90. But Dad was able to do that by God's grace. Over the next decade, multiple earnest attempts were made to sell the building and the land, and those all failed for one reason or another. The Pedro family, as I said before, this is Justin of Brother Carl standing tall over there, or less tall, donated this land in 2009, stipulating the location become a park named after the family. In the interim, so in that decade, there was the urban flower field, and that started, these nuggets, Mayor Carter, that you were talking about. When I would visit, people walked their dogs, and they admired the mural, which were the Fibonacci numbers. They go in a big circle, and apparently in the mathematical world, that sort of goes into an infinity. So that was interesting bend on the art there. There was music venues here, Takada, I say that right, did lots of fun music here. But to me, the best part was when I would come and see people on their hands and knees digging in these flower gardens and talking to each other and sharing their plants or, weeding the garden. There were some residents, whose legs didn't do their thing anymore and they had to be in wheelchairs, but they came anyway. And they, slipped off their wheelchair and got down on the ground and gardened just like everybody else. So that was one of the things, in addition to the nugget of the kids' park, it was making this wheelchair accessible. So, everyone could come together here. So I think this is getting more than 4 minutes. This is about 3.5. Okay. So thank you for the ongoing efforts. St. Paul Parks Conservancy and Michael John Peace, who was behind me. My secret side, the St. Paul Chamber of Commerce, the Mayor Melvin Carter, of course, the City Council, and Friends of Pedro Park, led by Julie Prince. Our hope is that the space will function as a gathering sanctuary, and I chose that word in light of things that shouldn't have happened, right, last week. And we want this place to be bonds of positive interaction and kindness that are nurtured with family and friends and extended not only home but to those people abroad. Mayor Carter used the word breathe, and I also agree with that word. As we breathe this fresh air in this new area of recreation, let us be thankful to God for his wisdom, timing, and gift, right? If it was 20 years earlier, I wouldn't have white hair. May Pedro Park be a place of safety, renewal, and peace for all children and their families. Thank you, everyone, for working and being here today. And now, Julie Prince from Friends of Pedro Park, who did a remarkable job in leading us to get this far.
Hello, everyone. I'm Julie Prince. I'm with the Friends of Pedro Park, and I'm also serve on the board of the Capitol River Council. What an exciting day. Nearly 20 years ago, the idea of a park began as a spark in the 2006 Fitzgerald Park Precinct Plan. Some of you don't even know that existed, but it did. That spark was kept alive by residents, by the Capitol River Council leaders, by city representatives, and it ignited when the Pedro family made their generous donation of land. The journey wasn't always smooth, as many of us know, but one thing never wavered. The community showed up. You showed up at council meetings and open houses. You filled out surveys, you wrote emails, you sent letters to our mayor and city council. And in our last attempt to move this project forward, I was able to lead the Pedro Park work group, and we went out and interviewed community members, and we heard frustration and even hopelessness that this would ever happen. And I know there's cynicism about downtown. It's easy to really give in to that. But when you see what's here today as the result of optimistic people who cared about their community and dreamed of something better, this is the result. So to those of you that live around this park, welcome to your backyard. Stay engaged. Your opinions and surveys and feedback sessions over the last 20 years were input to this design. And here's the truth. Public amenities like this don't just happen because the city's being nice. They happen because the community speaks up, advocates, and refuses to let the dream die. So today makes me deeply optimistic about the future of downtown and about what else we can achieve together. What's next? Maybe a community center. Who wants to join me in dreaming about that? For now, let's celebrate this incredible new space. Enjoy the park. And now I'd like to welcome up Michael John Pease, the Executive Director of the St. Paul Parks Conservancy.
Hello, everyone. I know I'm between you and some other fabulous speakers and great food and great music. A big hand to DJ Nikki Darling for putting all the music together and for spinning the tunes. The park was going to open and the community just surged forward to create this event. So, and what I love about the rain is that we all get to huddle together. And you can't avoid meeting someone new or seeing an old friend. But the two words that I have to offer in this space, before I invite some others to join me and recognize some important donors, the two words are tenacity and tending. So you heard from Gina the tenacity of the Pedro family. We also got a sense of tending to the feet of others, tending to the needs of people whose luggage was wrecked from storms. And we've heard about the tending that has already happened in this space by the gardeners who've come. There were 30 people out here on a Monday night planting the annuals. People have been emailing me, when do I get to start weeding? I'm like, the minute you see a weed. And I want to thank, before some others, the two garden clubs that are part of making this happen. So there's the volunteers, the boots on the ground, the Friends of Pedro Park that'll be continuing to maintain this. But the Garden Club of Ramsey County that years ago gave a 75-cent prize to Carl Pedro for his winning iris. Have given money to contribute to the plants here, and the St. Paul Garden Club, our champions of Rice Park, gave a wonderful gift for those same plants to get the volunteers started. Gardeners helping gardeners, it's the magic of downtown. We think it's all these other things. It's these communities that these parks have built around Rice Park, Mears Park, and now Pedro Park that bring us all together. So that's the tending, because the ribbons gets cut and the photos get published, and we all walk away from this gathering, but the tending happens every day for years and years and years until we turn it over to the next generation who'll tend it. So it's going to keep tenacity to keep that going, and it's going to take ongoing tending. So thank you for that. I'm going to ask if they're still with us, Kadar Hickman from the St. Paul Foundation and Melissa from Mars and Power, if you can make your way here. Thank you. Hello, hello. You want to say a quick word of why Mars and Power, why Pedro Park?
Well, I have 45 minutes of prepared remarks. I hope everybody's comfortable. No, they actually just thank you. We're in the Wells Fargo building just over here, and our window actually looks down on this. So we've also been watching the amazing construction and the Herculean effort to get all of this open and ready today. And as business owners and long-standing business here in St. Paul, we've been here for 94 years. It is incredible to see so many people coming out and supporting the community and really making this your park. So thank you all for being here.
And Kadar from the St. Paul Foundation.
Oh, good evening, everyone. For us at the foundation, connections are important. Community connections are important. This is yet another link in the chain of our city and our parks and places for reflection, for respite, for rejuvenation, and for us to meet each other as friends. So that is important to us as a foundation. And to me personally, I used to sit, and my daughter, we used to sit at Keys, and my screensaver on my computer is the old building, the last day before it was knocked down, and we wondered, what is it going to look like? And this is an extraordinary vision of possibility for then and for now.
Excellent. Thank you. And we also owe thanks to Securian Foundation for a major gift for the park. And then as I wrap up, I'm just going to say some of the best fundraising. I'm a passionate believer that we get our hands in the soil as neighbors to make a park, and we also put our hands in our pocketbooks. And Kathleen O'Neill and so many others, she put on a trash and treasure sale at the Penfield to raise $600. She put on an event at Camp Bar with Bill Collins to raise $2,000. Everyone's got their hand in their pocket and their hand in the soil for this. Tenacity and tending. And so before you go, we're going to have some wonderful food and some more music. We created little Pedro Park luggage tags. And the two phrases I want to say, in case you haven't seen one yet, under the name Pedro Park, it says, "From thriving immigrant business to garden oasis." So that's what this is. And to tag off of Julie's comment, where will your dreams take you? And so next up, I am so pleased to welcome, it would be fabulous to have a friend of all the parks come, and we do, in Senator Sandy Pappas, but she is also a neighbor of this park and has watched from her window the ongoing things. So thank you, Senator Pappas.
Thank you, everyone. We really see today how it takes a village to make a park. And I'm just amazed and so thrilled to be here. Now, everyone before me has thanked everyone that needs to be thanked. But I want to just do a quick little shout out to a neighbor legislator who's joined us, Representative Samakab Hussein, back there. Thank you for joining us today. And since I live in City Walk, and this is going to be my park, too, I'm so proud of it, I also want to really thank all the neighbors and all the surrounding buildings for your tenacity, for hanging in there for all these years, saying, we want a park, we want a park, we want a park. And one last thing, I'll never forget the day that Andy Rodriguez, our park commissioner, called me and said, guess what, Sandy? Thanks to the state legislature, we freed up some money, and we're going to shift it over to Pedro Park. Thank you all. I'd like to welcome to the mic next our state rep, Maria Issa.
Thank you, Senator Pappas. Thank you, District 65B. I have the honor to represent here, Representative Maria Isa Perez Vega, and I grew up on the west side in downtown, and I remember when Pedro's building was a place where we shopped, and also where family members worked, and a collectiveness of what community and history and legacy, and I want to thank the Pedro family for sharing such of that history, because it's important. It's important for our community, whether you're old or new to this district, to this city, to this here village, because that's the impact that our future deserves. The impact of good things like parks happening where our kids feel safe, where our children have a vision of maybe one day becoming the leaders, whether they want to become park directors, senators, legislators that really care about what community is and what it delivers. We're not going to stop. My socks have the city of downtown St. Paul on them. Because I want to reflect what it is to be from St. Paul. That as children, we can dream to bring and create change. And right now, this change is a collectiveness of when government and community serves the people. And let's not just make this one thing here for downtown. Let this be a spark, all right? A firework to showcase what we're gonna do next, right? We heard our mayor address earlier today the talks and the necessities of housing, right? And building that foundation so that we have new community, new safe endeavors for our kids to celebrate in this park. I can't wait to hear music because the musician part of me is saying we need drum circles. We need elders coming out from our elders community and the constituents to say, Maria, we want to do yoga and Zumba at the Pedro Park. Well, call Andy. Let's get it done. We're going to keep doing the work at the state to fight and deliver for our capital city and for this here community. Muchas gracias. And here's your council president, Naker.
I got good news for everybody. I'm the last one. I want to echo something that Michael John said. This is a beautiful pavilion. We are all friends and neighbors, and it's raining and cold. So if you can, move in a little bit. There's plenty of room. It's a lot nicer if you're underneath the pavilion, so please move on in. Someone asked me the other day whether I'd prepared my remarks for today's ribbon cutting. And I said, you know, when your heart is just bursting with joy about something, you really don't have to prepare a lot of remarks. And that's how I feel standing here right now. This is truly, as others have said, a dream come true. I remember when we were all standing over there at the groundbreaking, and I said, just take a minute and look around and remember this moment. And I hope you'll take a minute now, too, and look around and remember this moment, because we've gotten here. And this is just the first of so many moments to come. I am full of gratitude to all of the people who are already named as well. I do want to call out one other person who hasn't been named. As city council members, we are always standing on the shoulders of giants. This is work that takes more than a term, more than a lifetime in some cases. And I am so honored to have my predecessor here, Councilmember Dave Thune. Where it didn't all begin, but a lot of it began. And he's a wonderful friend and mentor to me. I will tell you that there was a very strange thought that has kept going through my mind over the last couple of weeks as I've been thinking about today's event. My kids are now in 5th and 7th grade. And I was thinking back to when I was pregnant with my first child. So that was a long time ago. And I for some reason, kept having this memory of this website that I would check while I was pregnant. It was a website that would tell me, because I was very excited, new mom, exactly what fruit or vegetable or seed at every week of pregnancy my embryo baby fetus was the size of, right? So maybe some of you are familiar with this. I don't even remember the name of it anymore, but I checked it, week 1, and it's like a sesame seed, and then it's a sunflower seed, and then it's a cherry tomato, and it's an apple, and you're like, yeah, I feel that apple, right? And of course, for my second child, I was over it. I didn't check it all, right? But maybe some of you are wondering, why is she telling us this story? And maybe some of you who live right around this park know exactly why I'm telling you the story. Because as I've heard from those of you, and as I myself have been around this park over the last month, every week as you have looked down, you have seen the concrete get poured, the ground get leveled, the grass gets seeded, the trees get planted, and every week you have checked back and seen it grow and grow until today it is being born right in front of us. And just like a birth, this is a wonderful moment, and it is just the beginning. And just like a child, as Michael John said, let's make sure that we nurture and tend and care for this park. And let's make sure that we share this park. Because just like a child, the more people who love and care about and feel connected to this park, the more successful it will be. And I know that everyone here is committed to doing that. I want to leave you with one thought, and it's exactly what Julie Prince said earlier so beautifully. Let's take one thing from today, and that is that we can do amazing things. We can come together, we can be generous, we can be visionary, even in extremely tough times, and we are in those now, we can do amazing things. Thank you all so much. And with that, we have a ribbon to cut. So we're all going to go over there. We're all going to, Andy's going to tell you what to do.
Yeah, appreciate it. We're going to venture into the rain just for a quick second to cut the ribbon near the grass area. So if people want to shift this way, that'd be great. And while I'm up here, I want to say thank you to all of our local businesses who have supported us and made a huge impact on this place as well.